This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening to tonight's Economic Development and Culture Committee meeting. Today is December 8th. We are at 6:38. We believe that we are still waiting for quorum, so we're going to pause for now. Oh, we have quorum?
Yeah, but just go ahead and call the roll, like you can't do something until you
So
call.
then let's do the roll call. Did you do the roll call already?
So read the ground rules, you already called the meeting to order.
Perfect. No one may speak until granted the floor. So be like, remember, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Raise your hand to Zoom, click on the participant icon, and you will find the raise hand function there. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. This is very important. I will repeat. Please keep your questions and comments brief, not so much the brief part, but on topic. I genuinely dislike questions, comments that are not on topic. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subject on the agenda, please raise your hands and wait to be recognized.
Now you want me to call the roll?
Please.
Jose Altamira,
Press.
Mark Roberski is excused,
Yes.
and Marcel Fontima.
Present.
Samantha Rivero,
Present.
Eugene Rodriguez.
Here.
Vincent Torres. Jenny Chomsky. Anne Marie Vasquez. Nye Whitaker,
Present.
Donnie Wolfall. And Lacey Moore. Yeah,
They have one. Amazing. All right, perfect. We will then see to tonight's agenda. And we will get right into this. Where do we have? For announcements for Marina Ortiz. Is she here? Queens Harlem Preservation.
maybe she's not on yet. I thought I saw her, but I'm
Listen, we can loop back around if she gets something. So,
Let me choose. Marina's notebook, this is Marina. It's on, but I don't know if she can hear, I see her name.
Marina, you hear us? Yes. So that's Cynthia from the museum, but she has a meeting right now. Cynthia there? Yeah. Oh, perfect, she's already there. Well, let's get to Cynthia, because I know she's running two meetings at the same time. Cynthia, do you hear us? No, let's try this meeting out in the city. All right, we're gonna. No, she's on, she unmuted, looks like. No? That's the mute.
Trying to see if they can hear. Nine heard me earlier, Nine, you heard me earlier, right? You're able to
Yes,
hear?
I can hear you.
Alright,
Perfect.
so it's not an audio issue,
Okay.
I'm not really sure, maybe they just separated the computer.
It could be, I know Cynthia's on the meeting, so let's move forward and then we can always do back. No, our information on updates, part of it is
Hi,
also
guys.
presentations, but do we have,
Cynthia's,
what was that? Cynthia, perfect. Cynthia, how are you, hear us?
Good. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Hi.
Cynthia, go ahead.
Great. Wonderful. So yeah, we're just super excited. Next month, January 6th, is our Three Kings Day Parade. And I apologize, I'm not introducing myself. My name is Cynthia Carrion. I'm the Director of Government and Community Affairs at El Museo. And we just wanted to really just extend both an invitation and ensure that, you know, the committee knows, that the community knows. Folks can register right now to join us in the parade. You're also all invited to join us for the breakfast and our community celebration at 1:30. So happy to kind of share that information along. And I think I see Carrie's in the audience. Yay! So yeah, so I'm also here to happy to take some questions if anybody had. And this might be too late for this parade, but maybe for next year, would love to engage on how we can work more closely with our business owners and folks all along the parade route to ensure that they're aware and can kind of work with us also in kind of, you know, supporting the parade.
And could you just talk to us about the event itself, Cynthia, like the date, the time, so that everyone who wants to attend can attend, because I think it's a great event.
Absolutely. And I'm so sorry, my you guys can still see me? Okay. So we kick off the parade with a breakfast, and that starts at 8:30. Doors open at El Museo. And so the program will be from 9 to about 10:30. After that, we have a paranda that goes from the breakfast and starts the parade. So the parade really kicks off on at 11 o'clock, starting at 106th Street. By El Museo, right, between 5th and Madison. We march down, starting at 11 o'clock from 106, crossing over to 3rd Avenue. At 3rd Avenue, we start heading north, and we march along 3rd Avenue from 106 all the way to 115th, 116th, and the parade then starts to end right there at 116th as we turn over west towards Park Avenue and Lexington on 3rd Avenue. And then after that, we invite the community also to join us in a community celebration in El Teatro at 1:30, where we'll have Fabiola Mendez, who is a Puerto Rican cuatro player. And it's going to be a really, really special show.
Great, thank you so much for bringing it out, Cynthia, and thank you for Museo for hosting us last night for our full board. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Jose, can I follow up and send everybody the information and the breakdown so that folks, if they want to register or join us for the breakfast or the community celebration, they can?
Oh, absolutely.
And then I think the other thing too is I also invite CB11 if you'd like to march with us and have your own contingent in the parade.
We'll talk to our chair, Xavier Santiago, to see how we coordinate. I'm sure that will be very. Eugene said he is more than happy to march along because he wants to be very active in this community. He feels that more things should happen in this community. So he's going to participate in other things as well. So we're gonna volunteer him in this situation.
Yes, Eugene, my buddy.
All right, so thank you so much, Cynthia. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. And also just to put out a call that we're also looking for volunteers to help out, you know, either as flag bearers, you know, and the day of, you know, we'll have about, you know, at least 20 groups coming out with us. And so especially our students. So also offering that out to the committee as well.
Well, definitely. Could you put your contact information in the chat so people can reach out to you directly? I'm also going to reach out to Asher to see if, because he does youth, the youth committee. So we're going to reach out to make sure that see if he wants to be active as well. I mean, they're very active in that committee. So, but it's always good to coordinate in these things.
Okay, absolutely. Putting it right now.
I'll Asher to reach out directly. I'll give him your contact info.
Sounds great.
All right,
thank you.
Cynthia. Appreciate you.
Okay, bye everyone.
Good night.
I think, before you move on,
Marina Ortiz
Ulysses, Rosso,
from.
where's it? I just asked him to raise his hand, but I didn't want you to move on. So we need everyone to raise their hand, so you don't have to type in the chat. I'm monitoring two things or something, I'm not overseeing this chat. So just virtually raise your hand, and then I'll see it, if Jose doesn't see it, I'll let him know, like, Jose, you have a hand in the virtual space, okay? He wants to make an announcement, he's from, Workforce One,
Yeah.
Center from Manhattan, San Juan.
Absolutely.
Unmute yourself.
She has to.
No, he's in the panel section. So
Oh,
Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. So great to be here tonight and with Community Board 11 and hearing about, the Three Kings Day brings me back to my mom, who was from Puerto Rico and used to attend those events. But great to see that and put your information there so I can see it. I have my colleague today here, Radia Barnes, who's our new Upper Manhattan Workforce One Community Partner Manager. And Radia's been doing a great job in making sure that we connect with the East Harlem community, the West Harlem community, and Manhattan in total. We are still partnering with many East Harlem partners like Union Settlement, Urban Outbound, NYCHA, just to mention a couple of them, Goodwill Pros. And we're making an impact. I think that, one of the things that's important that we're looking now is we're doing an aggressive outreach to the businesses in East Harlem and West Harlem to make sure that we want to know if they have a need and that they use Workforce One to hire people from within the community. So between myself, the other leadership team in Upper Manhattan, and Radia, we have, some really good plans for January. We were in the Polo Grounds last week with Jobs NYC, which was very successful, and we had a big crowd of people there. So, we want to continue to do that, but we can't do it unless we partner with the other organizations in East Harlem, like Strive as well, to get the participants and understand who has what resources, what trainings, so we continue to have an impact. Working in silos never works. And I think Angel, I can't see you guys, but I've been knowing Angel and Miss King for a long time. The best way to do this is for all of us to engage, so we understand who offers what service, so we can make a better impact to the people that are visiting the Workforce One. Just very quickly, we've developed also, a package of or a list of partners that assist with employment barriers, because people are facing big barriers. And we want to assist them with those barriers if we can. We know we're not going to do it in our walls, but we have those partner networks to assist the population with employment barriers so we can get them to that next level.
All right, thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Do we have any other hands raised or informational?
There's a hand raised from Joe Robbins from the Union Settlement.
Sure. So,
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good to see you. Thanks for having me here. I'm not Michelle Cruz, but she asked me to present a few updates from our shop. Michelle is as you all know, is the Director of Economic Development and Government Affairs, and I work with her as a senior project consultant on economic development initiatives in the community. Just a few quick updates for you, building on some of the updates that she shared with you last month. First, we have an ongoing East Harlem Cultural District feasibility study to figure out how best to work with community stakeholders and arts.
I'll do that one. I would have to interrupt them. Go ahead, sorry.
Can you hear me? Okay.
And we hear you're trained Pathfinder, Joe,
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's.
Okay, great, no problem. So we have an ongoing East Harlem Cultural District feasibility study in which we're working with arts anchor institutions, artists, and other arts stakeholders in East Harlem to explore the possibility of better networking artists and arts institutions to secure resources and to develop a way of achieving synergy in marketing and driving both local residents and visitors to the community to take advantage of the amazing arts institutions and arts programming here in East Harlem. So we've had 2 stakeholder engagement sessions so far, and we have our 3rd and final one in January, and that will culminate in February in a massive document that will reflect the input, questions, guidance, and expertise of the stakeholders we've consulted over the past few months. We're working with Ober Architects who are doing the architectural phase of the feasibility study to look at brick and mortar and how we can better.
Volume 32. Sorry. Go
Bet-
ahead. Volume 30.
Okay,
Volume 34.
okay. How we can better improve the physical plant of institutions in the community. And so we would love for you all to look at the feasibility study. We'll make sure you get a copy of it when it comes out. And I know some of you have also been directly involved in the process. Second, East Harlem for the Holidays campaign. This is a marketing campaign primarily to, again, drive local residents of all ages to shop, dine, and have fun in the community and to spend their resources here in local businesses and cultural institutions. And so one example of that is the holiday map that we've created. I know some of you are featured on it, the digital map that you can find at eastharlemalliance.org, eastharlemalliance.org. And that features a wide range of East Harlem cultural institutions, small businesses, and a full list of events where you can that you should check out when you have a moment. I know some of you have been to some of them and have been featured as vendors. The next big event for us at Union Settlement is our holiday market and pop-up ice skating event. Our final one in this 3-part series is this Friday, December 20th. It starts at 6:30 to 7 for people who have sensory issues. And there will be no music during that period. And then from 7 to 9, we'll have music. There'll be local vendors selling food. There'll be holiday gifts for purchase. And then I've been there the past couple of Friday nights, and just the electricity, the joy in the children's faces and their parents and other community members as they skate around this pop-up ice skating rink. It's a phenomenal experience, and it really brings out the holiday in all of us. So I encourage you to stop by 104th Street, the primary Union Settlement institution or institution at a facility between 6:30 to 7 if you have sensory issues or know of someone who does, from 7 to 9 p.m. with music and shopping and additional skating. And many of the events featured on the map and in this promotional campaign, some of them include the Harlem Night Market. I know I see Carrie was there, someone mentioned earlier. So please check us out at eastharlemalliance.org. And then third and finally, we have an ongoing financial management workshop series that we facilitate with JP Morgan Chase, the business development experts and coaches from their team, including local folks. And so this is an opportunity for small business owners to level up their skills in order to sustain and to grow their businesses. And these are top-notch experts who are providing advice and guidance on everything from how to secure loans and grants to support your business to creating a vision and a business plan, a solid business plan. And there are user-friendly tools distributed at each of these sessions. The next one is tomorrow, December 19th, Thursday, December 19th, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. at Sendero Verde. And this one is on the power of capital, specifically focusing on access to loans and credit, and how to make sure that you're well positioned to take advantage of those opportunities, not just with JP Morgan Chase, but just in general as a business owner. So I can send more information on that. And those are the 3 updates that we wanted to share with you. I'm going to put both Michelle's email address and my own email address in the chat, and I encourage you to reach out if you'd like more information about any of these opportunities. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much for being with us and informing us. We appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Do we have any more hands raised?
I haven't seen any hands.
And we're going to move past the informational updates. On to our presentations.
Okay. Do you have, so you're not doing this tonight?
No, let's do it next
Okay.
Okay, so tonight's presentation is on land use application C 250114 BCM, East 125th Street Business Improvement District bid. We have Jordan Barowitz and Melody Capote, co-chair from the East 125th Street bid. For those of you who don't know what a bid is a business improvement district. There are 76 in the city. It's a geographical area where local stakeholders oversee and fund the maintenance, improvement, and promotion of their commercial district. This would be the first one, very excitingly, in East Harlem. Even though I know that the community board is completely against Hilltown Grand Central is here to speak. And we are very excited for this. So please, you start.
Sure. Is Melody here? Is she on? If she's not, I will pinch it for her.
I don't see anything, but let me just pull up your presentation. I'm trying to figure out the audio thing and other things in the background. Would you like for us to stay in here?
I think so. I think there's more people.
Okay.
Well, while Marlene is doing that, we can introduce ourselves again. I'm Carrie King, the director of Uptown Grid Central. Know all you guys. So good to be in front of you.
I'm Jordan Barowitz. I'm representing the Durst Organization. Durst Organization owns a lot at 1800 Park Avenue. Southwest corner.
That's the lot, the very first lot that we ever painted grayscale on. If you guys remember that, it's the murals that we do. So it's fun. Oh, and there we go. That's amazing. And should we give a shout out to Leslie who's over there?
Hello, everyone. I'm Leslie Velasquez. I'm the director for the development at Small Business Services.
Leslie has been our chauffeur through the bid formation process. So I'm going to do Melody's part, which I'm not as good at. Do it. So could you just jump ahead to that, and I'll do my best to talk about the background and visions.
Okay, can you do that?
Sure. So I'll just think of me as Melody in this situation. You know, the East 125th Street is a super vibrant community, has you know, a ton of diversity, a great history, but struggles with some really challenging quality of life problems. And, you know, for the last bunch of years, people at Uptown Grand Central have been carrying the weight of keeping the community cleaner and safer. However, it's a lot for a nonprofit organization to do, and their funding streams are sort of variable. And a bunch of people got together now a few years ago and said, how can we institutionalize what Uptown Grand Central has been doing and, you know, expand it and make it better? And we gravitated to the concept of a business improvement district, which is an organization that provides additional services to communities. The property owners within that district pay an assessment, and that goes directly to fund an organization with a board made up of different constituencies within the community, and they are in control of that money, and they use it to supplement city services. By law, bids don't come in and so the city pulls back on their services. It's supplemental services. So we put together a terrific committee.
Right there.
There we are, many of us back in
2021.
2021. And we started, hashing out the real hard work of figuring out what the boundaries of the district would be, what the budget, what an appropriate budget would be, and what the assessment formula, how that additional tax would be levied on the property owners. And I'll get into the sort of challenges of that a little bit later.
Do you want me to move on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
should we have a secret symbol? Should I let you
Yeah,
go?
cause I don't. So you gotta let me know.
Okay,
Next
you're
slide.
up next.
The
Yeah.
next slide. Okay, go. Oh, sorry, but you guys know we started as NEMA in 2013 and then became Uptown in 2016. In 2021, started to work on the bid. I think the next, yeah, and a lot of this work comes out of, this is 10 years or more of work. One of the first things we did alongside Union Settlement and Hope Community ages ago was come up with the community district needs assessment. And one of the things that the community said in that, and also in all the district needs statements from Community Board 11 for the longest time has been that 125th Street needs a bed. So the bid formation process, as Jordan indicated, is a long one. You guys know I've been talking to EcoDev about this forever. And so there's lots of different stages to it. The first one is planning. This is the one where we put the most time in, because if you don't plan it right, it's not gonna come out right. So we started in December 2021, and that took all the way to September 2023. So that's the things like the boundaries of the assessment. And outreach didn't take us very long, this in terms of bid formation processes, and this just goes to show you how much East 125th Street needs one. Every single person that was getting the information was like, oh yeah, we need that, yes, yes, yes. So the outreach phase continued until September 2024, and now we're in legislative. So later on in the presentation, you'll see a little bit more of a diagram about what that means. But it means this is the stage where we make all the presentations and people say, yes, let's move forward. Including, it'll go all the way after community board, it goes to city planning, city council, the mayor, and then it goes to the state.
And back in the planning phase, we put together a steering committee that was a really good representative group of business owners, nonprofit organizations, tenants, the elected officials all sat in on the steering committee. The community board was always present, so it was our steering committee. It's a really good group of people.
Next, yes, and I have to say, because Melody's not here, our co-chairs are just amazing. Jordan is amazing, he's very dedicated, wrangled a lot of people for their votes, and Melody comes in really great and brings that cultural community aspect. So the meetings have just been great. We've been really collaborative. This is a tour that we took early on when we were trying to figure out what the boundaries would be.
The vision statement, okay. We, the challenges in the community, we have a lot of people who come into the community every day, who go to the myriad social service agencies and organizations that are clustered around East 125th Street, and we need a lot of sanitation, right? And what we heard from people when we do the community needs assessment is we need more help keeping the streets and sidewalks clean. They also wanted additional public safety and security, and we gave that a lot of thought, like how can we help on the public safety security? Some larger bids have their own public safety officers. We are not of the size scale where we could do something like that. Plus, there's plenty of members of the NYPD present in the community. There could always be more, but when you're on the street, you frequently see, the NYPD there. So we thought what we can do to, advance the interest was really focus on keeping the streets safe and clean, doing events and holiday lighting, and really activating the East 125th Street for positive uses, and then also have somebody dedicated on staff who can help coordinate the NYPD, the other city agencies, all of those social service organizations, providers that are in the neighborhood, to try to sort of like fill in the gaps on what's missing for public safety. This is you.
Yeah, Melody normally has some of these slides that we're passing back and forth. So our approved boundaries, we walked through, as you said, as you saw, we walked around, we looked at what the boundaries could be. And what we came up with was the core of it based along East 125th Street. This is a little bit in from Fifth Avenue. So this is CB11 here. CB11 starts here, but these two lots are in the West 125th Street bid. They're already in the bid for the west side. And that's decades of history going back that they're there, but we pick up right after that stops. So everything in green is in the bid boundaries. You can see Park Avenue, this is the Metro North Station. This of course is the 456. So this is where a lot of work needs to happen. And then over here is up near a lot of the new development, 1 East Harlem, the Proton Center, and getting up near where the Greenway, entrance to the Greenway Park is gonna be.
Yeah, the bid boundaries have to be contiguous. You can't have an island off to the side that everything has to touch. And you can't have a donut hole in the middle. And what the hard work in figuring this out is, you wanna have the bid serve the places that need the most services, right? Every expansion of a block, right, is more money that needs to be collected to pay for more services. Not everybody pays to be in the bid, like if government organizations and nonprofit organizations don't pay an assessment. So if you have a lot of blocks filled with government-owned buildings, they don't pay any assessment, but we have to service them, right? So it's this, it takes a while to sort of figure out what's the best boundary, where's the need, where can we recoup the revenue to pay for it, and want to sort of avoid taking on too much more than we can handle.
Next.
Next.
Yes, right.
No, just the yellow one is what? The yellow one.
These.
Guys,
That's
I'm
not
so
it.
sorry, Chair. Can I ask a question because I can't hear from the speakers?
Oh, sorry, Nye.
It's okay, guys. Sorry. Carrie, I know you were pointing, so just a clarification, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The plots of land that are not the dark green color, what did you say about them?
The ones that are not green, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the ones that are not green they're not in the bid. They're not in the Harlem East 125th Street bid. There's two properties. One is the National Black Theater and one is that empty lot that looks like there could be dead bodies in there. That's me editorializing. But those are in the west side bid. And then everything green is in the proposed Harlem East 125th Street bid.
So the Park Avenue spaces from 126 to 128 that are like that buff color.
These?
Sorry, I
mean-
can't see what you're pointing to, and I know you were pointing on the screen.
Now, if it's green, it's in the bid. If it's yellow, it is not in the bid.
I
If
couldn't
it's-
tell what that color is, so if it's yellow, whatever that buff
If it's
color or yellow
green,
color is not.
Whatever
Thank
it
you.
is, if it's green, it's bid. Anything else is non-bid.
You're talking about the parcel on the east side of Park Avenue or the west side of Park Avenue?
It's okay. I think
Is there a specific
Jose
property you're asking
explained it.
about, Nye?
It's online though.
So, right.
It's already on the website.
Oh, it's on the website.
Is there a specific property you're asking about, Nye?
I was just wondering about the space across the street from me, which is the I'm drawing a blank now. Sorry, I'm getting over pneumonia.
The Proton Center?
No, the opposite side. So 3rd Avenue on the other side of me and then across, which used to be like a government agency building or whatever that is.
The HRA building, that's
Mhm.
included.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
thank you.
included.
Now, if you could do me a favor, wait to be recognized, so just blurt out questions. kind of stopped on, Anne Marie, could you return to your original question? You're okay?
Sorry, I had my hand raised for a long time to say that I couldn't hear and it wasn't acknowledged,
Raise
and I
your
know
hand
that,
on the Zoom, when you're online, I need you to raise your hand on the Zoom, thank you.
yeah, I did for a long time. I was just double checking because Marlene had said sometimes she can't see the chat, and so,
Yeah, we will get to it.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Next slide.
So, you guys are familiar with a lot of the services that bids provide because Uptown has been kind of faking it till we make it. We've been doing it, right, but without any kind of sustainable funding. So Uptown basically begs, borrows, pleads, to make the same things happen. So, the community is familiar with some of the things that bids do. Bids are known as the Clean and Safe Organization. So this is an example of some of the cleaning that Uptown already does in the yellow trash bags you're familiar with. We're currently doing about 12,000 bags a year. That's gonna really go up when the bid is in place. You can go quick for these, Marlene. And this is an example, a lot of you guys have joined us on community cleanup day. So we'll keep doing the community cleanup days, but then we'll also have a more dedicated staff to get things done. Of course, community art can continue. This is bids do clean and safe, but also beautification, public art, greening. Some more of the art. And lighting. It went quick past that slide, but holiday lighting, winter lighting is something that bids do and will continue to do even better. And safety lighting as well. This is the lot. This is where the bid would start right here. This is the lot at 5th and 125th. But so safety lighting, which is something that's definitely needed along 125th Street. And then public programming. Uptown currently programs the space underneath the Metro North at 125th and Park. And the bid and or Uptown together in partnership, we're working that out, will continue to do those sort of things. And then public events. You guys know Party on Park because it's right here in front of this office. And the big sort of things that bring people together, showcase small businesses, showcase culture, and just let the neighborhood show the best of itself. More, we have a lot of slides. And these are some of the events at the Uptown Grand Central Plaza. And we're hoping to really, continue to do that with more backing, more support. Jordan mentioned public safety. So the bid, we talked a lot about public safety and how that should be implemented, what that looks like in East Harlem. And we did talk about, it should be something where we are coordinating all the multiple agencies and outreach teams that we know are already here and are helping them be more effective. This is the 25th precinct, and that was a meeting of the bid committee with the Small Business Services Commissioner at the time, Kevin Kim. And then continuing to support the small businesses. These are 3 25-year-old businesses, Sisters Cuisine, the Brownstone, and La Lemonera, that are all on East 125th Street. You look at some commercial corridors that are on as big a street as 125th Street, you would not see as many small businesses as East 125th Street has. In large part, that's because East 125th Street has had lower rents than the West Side, but we want to make sure that these businesses can stay.
This is my normal stuff.
That's right. This is
What the steering committee had those 3 responsibilities, the boundary, the second one is figuring out the budget. This is a pretty big budget. It starts at $750,000, and then it can grow to $1 million if the supermajority of the board decides to after 3 years. The reason that this is a big number is that maintenance and sanitation, right? That's a big number. But one of the considerations we had is for this to make a difference, we need to do a lot of cleaning, right? Most bids of this size can get away with half that number, right? But if we did half of that, the streets would still be dirty. People would say, what are you doing? You haven't made a difference. So we knew in order to make an impact, we had to put together a large amount of money. And the people on the steering committee at the end of the day are the ones who are paying this money. So they decided, yes, we will put this skin in the game, because we know that if we want to make a difference, we have to put together a large amount of money. So as you can see, there's, 370 for maintenance and sanitation, and then the rest of it is, these are significant amounts of money too for streetscape lighting events, and we hope to really be able to carry, as is a terrific fundraiser. She did a great job putting together money for Uptown Grand Central. She can leverage this $750,000, which comes in every year off the tax rolls, and raise more grant money and philanthropy and sponsorships, and even sort of leverage this money and grow the bid even more. Next slide. So the next step after the budget was figuring out what the formula is going to be to pay for it, what that assessment formula is going to be. How are we going to collect that money? And the challenge with our catchment area is that there's a real diversity of uses, not only of what buildings are used for. There's commercial office buildings, there's a lot of retail, there's not-for-profits, but there's also a lot of diversity in the technology. There's small, sort of the more traditional, sort of converted brownstone type buildings. Then we've got a number of, really significant, mixed income housing developments. And then we also have a lot of vacant lots, right? So we're trying to, come up with a formula that balances all of this. And also, because of these vacant lots are there, those buildings are gonna eventually grow, right? And we wanna be able to capture that growth. So next slide. So we came up with a unique assessment formula. And so most of the assessment comes from frontage, right? How many linear feet you have on the street, that's 80%. And there's two classes of that. If you have frontage on 125th Street, Madison Park in Lexington, you pay a higher per linear foot cost. If you have it on the secondary corridors, it's slightly lower. Then there's another class, which is taxable value. So how much the property pays in taxes. And this is the first bid in the city that uses taxable value as a variable, because what it allows is to tax residential, which is unconventional, but because it's taxable value and not assessed value, it allows for mixed income and affordable housing to pay a much lower rate. So you're not burdening those affordable housing developments. And so we also had to put in between to sort of equalize how much people were paying, a couple of classes within that. So the really, really big guys weren't paying, 40 or 50%, and the smaller ones weren't paying too little. So we sort of got to a point where we sort of smoothed it all out. And that was a lot of work, figuring out what's fair. A lot of people, everybody was unhappy at the end of the day, which was a good sign, right?
The people that are paying.
The people were paying, everybody wasn't happy with the formula, but everybody voted yes, right? And that's because we did a lot of hard work figuring out what is the best. Nothing is perfect, but we didn't make the perfect the enemy of the good. We moved and came up with a consensus on the formula. And if you go forward, slide, you can see these are the sort of the ranges. We have some really big buildings like the Proton Center, right? So they have, a pretty sizable contribution every year, $70,000. The smaller ones, it's $1,589. Not a huge number, but a chunk of change for a small landlord. And then, we tried to get most people in the $5,000 to $10,000 range. All right, next slide.
So outreach, now I'm back on, here we go. So outreach consisted of a lot of things. There was a lot of outreach in the planning. Jordan did a lot of phone calls, especially to the property owners that we were trying to do math with in terms of what they could pay and what the assessment would be. So we did a lot of outreach just via conversation, but then we also did outreach to the community, starting off with a needs assessment. So everybody that was within the boundaries, which you know, usually Community Board 11 gets all the flyers that I send out, but this was really specific to the property owners that were in those green boundaries. So everybody got in those on the map, got postcards where they could contribute their ideas via a needs assessment. And we also we kind of knew that everybody on the needs assessment was gonna say they wanted it to be cleaner, right? It's East 125th, and they wanted it to be safer. It's East 125th, and those were the results that we got. So we did more work, and then we launched the official outreach phase with a meeting of small business owners on the corridor, some of the property owners. That was in October of last year. And immediately the press came out really, really positive about it. We had 3 stories right off the bat. And when I would post it on social media, I wasn't sure what people were gonna say, but it was like, thank God, finally, like we need this. Our streets need to be clean. I need to be able to take my kid home and walk down East 125th Street in a safe way. And then the official balloting began. So you can do all the outreach, but then the way that it works is every single property owner and small business, every stakeholder in that green map gets a statement of support. And it was a 2-page thing. It went out in the mail. Everybody definitely got one. And they can vote. They fill it in if they support or they don't support, what type of stakeholder they are, and their information. So that went out to everybody, and we collected them for several months. And then we also had invitations in those mailings where people could come to public information sessions. We had 2 public information sessions at the Caribbean Cultural Center, hosted by Melody.
One during the day, one at night.
One during the day, one at night, on different days of the week, so different people could come. Good point. And we also went door to door. That is my son. We were out there on the street, him with his scooter. We went to every single business, many of them multiple times. And then also 2 different residential buildings asked us to do special in person. One of them at Carnegie Houses, which is the senior center on Lex and 126th, 7th, and then also one East Harlem. Nye worked to help host us in their community space so more people could come and learn about it. So we did a lot more outreach on the ground as well. And then in the end, we have not received a single no ballot, which is pretty awesome. Leslie's not gonna chime in on that, but it's pretty amazing that nobody came out against it, because essentially they're saying, yes, I would like to pay extra money, which generally people don't do that, right? So 50% of the properties said yes. And of the assessed value of the properties, we had 74% saying yes. And the tenants, which we have thousands and thousands of tenants now, those are a little bit harder to get to. That's residential tenants. That's 8%. But everybody has been so positive about it. The elected officials are also in support. Diana Ayala was a member of the steering committee. She or somebody from her staff was at every single meeting. Angel was at almost every single meeting. And then the council member Salam is in support, and the borough president is in support as well. His representatives were at the meeting. So the legislative timeline. So we did all this outreach, we did all the planning, and then we did our meetings with SBS and the city interagency in October. Then it went to city planning in November. Now we're here. This is where we are. In January and February, it's gonna go back to city planning. Then it will be with the city council, hopefully getting passed in city council and then getting the mayor's signature. That's February to April. Then after it gets the mayor's signature or passes into law, then it goes to the state comptroller, who creates a special, I'm not sure the exact word, district where the assessment can be levied. And thank you. Great. And so that'll be probably May or July. So then what happens after that? The bid is still not formed, because y'all know I've been coming to this committee talking about this bid for a while. So even after the bid is still not formed, then we still need to create an entity, an organization, and a nonprofit that can become the bid. So we're looking at probably the bid fully being ready to roll by January 2022. 6.
And this looks probably pretty familiar to you, because this is your level, right? Right, technically.
Yeah, it's like a Euler, but not.
Is it really?
It mimics a ULERT process,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
not.
Okay, sorry, so I'm missing.
Was it Seeker? Was that?
Secret
It's
stuff.
a city environmental review.
And it
so-
has that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's what sets off the
yeah,
whole process now. for the ULERT one.
you go, it makes you laugh. Alright,
So we threw a lot at you. Any questions? I know you guys have heard a lot about this over the years, but this is.
How's it going with the place where they were doing drugs on 6th Street? was it?
The safe injection site?
Yeah.
Well, you know, they voted in favor of it. They said yes. So I think, you know, they want.
Is it still a problem or is, because I know you gotta concentrate. on-
last time I was up
It's not,
there was room for food.
I live on 126, so I live on the next block. And yeah, there's room for improvement. They're saving a lot of lives, but the streets are really difficult, and that's why we want to do a lot of cleaning and a lot of coordination, because
I know you've been concentrating at trying to get that resolved, or at least looked at.
yeah,
So I wonder
a
how
lot of-
y'all doing our little property.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot, and it's, you know, right now Uptown has 2 cleaning guys on staff. 1 guy in the morning, 1 guy at night, and 4 shifts are not covered. So they do what they can do, but 1 person can't clean East 125th. So we're really excited when the bid's in place, we'll have a much bigger team. And they can support each other. It's also difficult to clean the street when you're a team of 1. It's pretty demoralizing, actually. So we're excited for them to have like a bigger group of guys and women that can be together and can really hit that ground running.
And there's always a lot of rumors that they're gonna close that safe injection site.
I haven't heard that.
Keep hearing, from the fire department and public safety transportation, we heard from one of the fire department, but again, that. Just.
We don't know.
You ready for one?
So, yeah, we have questions, so I wanna make sure everyone asks questions, everyone, any questions, all questions? Because this is very important, it's normal to have this here, I know that 750,000 was for the first 3 years, just so that everyone is clear. You know, it may seem like a lot of money, but it is divided over 3 years, 250,000 for the amount of work.
No, 750 a year.
Oh, so it is 750, perfect, so then that would be the next, my question, because it is a significant amount of work, I think we were trying to.
Yeah.
Who are the larger land players there? Is that something that we can say?
Yeah, if you wanna, I don't know, Marlene, if it would take too long to do it all the way back to the front. But we do have, you know, a lot of big lots. 3 of those lots are now owned by the Metropolitan Transportation Authority.
Are they paying it?
No.
No.
We did.
Oh, that's
we did-
interesting.
It was harder than you think getting them to sign the statement of support, given that they get the
No,
service, they don't pay
they
anything,
don't
they
pay
get the
for
service for free, they were
Doesn't
still
that
hard
sound-
to get them. to
Doesn't that
support.
sound ridiculous?
Yeah, hard to get them to support it, but
They did sign.
yeah.
Amazing
I-
how government gets to.
I actually, I had to ask Jen on that first.
We're gonna kind of work on that later. but,
Yeah, we'll work on that later.
Getting back to that question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I think it's the next one, or well, there's like a list of people and it says different property owners,
That's exactly, yeah.
there, so a lot of them are represented on the committee. Like Jordan said, the largest, property owner in terms of assessed value is the Proton Center. You guys have taken a tour of that, it has like 12-foot walls, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
But Durst Organization, Artemis, Blumenfeld, Extel, Richmond, MAD, Vermont Sinai too, those are the big organizations, yeah, big lots.
But we also had smaller, the
Yeah.
smaller property owners on the committee as well. Sylvia Caldwell, Harlem Berry Beauty Lounge is on 125th between 5th and Madison. Also Positive Workforce, there are like several organizations that own their building. Positive owns their building, Caribbean Cultural Center owns their building. So we tried to get the voices of both
Yeah.
the large and the small.
Terry's a small property.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we had a little bit of everybody.
Do we know, like, forming of what the leadership would be like when we get to that? It's all very preemptive.
It's
The-
the big committee.
Yeah, the steering committee sort of becomes temporary. Board of directors, and, but then there are specific requirements on who can be on the board. Basically, at there's different classes. Somebody is a renter, somebody is a tenant, say commercial tenant.
Most likely people that are involved, so, you know, everyone that is paying it as part of the steering.
Yeah, and more. And
I would imagine.
So it's, the steering committee will become the interim board as required by law. After these 7 property owners, 1 commercial tenant, 1 residential tenant. And then the 4 elected officials sit on the bid board as well. SBS sits on behalf of the mayor. You have a council member, the city comptroller, as well as the borough president, all which in most instances send their rep, unless we have, there's been instances of where the council members themselves are like in attendance because they're like heavily involved. So it varies. For this bid, it crosses 2 council member districts. So that the representative for the bid will be decided upon beside from the speaker of council. So that decision, once it passed legislation, that decision is made by the speaker. But overall, those who sit on the bid board is elected by the membership of their class. So it's not just those who are quote unquote paying in or those who are currently involved. It's open to all who are within the district boundaries.
And do we have someone from, because again, we have no experience with it, but do we have someone from the community board to be involved in the bid process or on the board or?
The community board is allowed to be a part of the board as a non-voting member. Yes.
Yeah, CB11 is on the, just for those 2 little properties that were on the map, it's on the board as a non-voting member of the West Side bid. And so definitely will be on this group.
Do we have any questions from the panel, Marlene?
No, there's no one here.
Raised. Give it a second in case anyone needs something. I'm gonna get my committee to ask one question.
It's a lot of information to take in, and most people have no concept of what a bid is, right? Like
The more information you give, the more questions you should have. I don't feel it's just like more to the process.
I mean, the way I think about bids is when you're walking around New York City and you see us, like you're on a street and you're like, huh, this is clean. Like there's banners and flowers and lights and this seems like a nice place to be. It's not fairies and it's not like the city that did that. That was a bid. And there's 70, how many of them?
76 bidders.
76.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an ideal, you know, we've been, for those of us that have been in community boards for a long time. You know, 126 was a more ideal situation because we have larger players. We also thought about 116th Street, which is even somewhat more commercial, but it's very small players, very small renters. So it's like now you're getting approval of 10 times as many people, which makes it significantly harder. So this was great that we were able to do so much hard work. We appreciate everything we've done throughout this journey and the city.
Oh, Barry knows that I want her to expand.
I know.
Our side.
If you go back to the map,
That's far from me.
it's well, to Barican.
Yeah, the
Yeah, we did have that conversation. I mean, I didn't mention that as part of the presentation, but when we did the outreach, we got inquiries from a lot of people that were like, wait a minute, I'm not in, I need to be in this thing. And so we did our best. If it was able, like Jordan said, you gotta balance it because the nonprofits don't pay in. So if you take in like a whole bunch of blocks that are all government, then you don't have any funding to support it. So we're able to, it's a mix, right? So we were asked to expand it this way, we were asked to expand it this way and this way. But we're gonna start here.
Yeah,
That's
we
where we're starting.
tried to go somewhere.
You mentioned nonprofits don't pay, but what about if they want to, can that happen? Always said it.
So that's not a Leslie.
There's instances on where nonprofits do pay because they're volunteering and they want to be a part of the bid and want all the services that a bid can offer, so it's typically done with like a MOU. What that contribution would be like for each year, so it does happen.
It probably, yes, it's probably larger, profit organizations or, I was thinking.
Hospitals, definitely, yeah, universities, some conservations, things like that. So, but yeah, some bigger non-for-profits choose to elect in, and I'm assuming it's a tax write-off at the same time for them.
But a small one can.
Oh, yeah, they can, a not-for-profit can definitely contribute if they want to. By no means is the bid gonna say no.
Oh, the bid will never. No.
I have a question. So is the only eligibility or requirement rather is to be within the area? Or what are the requirements for a non-for-profit who would be interested in?
And for contributing,
Yes.
anybody can contribute. I mean, that's, because like Jordan said, we'll continue to do fundraising. So when the bid is in place, there was that certain budget for the 750. But we'll still, we'll still need to be putting on community events and kicking it up past the 750. So we will always partner with anybody who wants to do, as an example, Memorial Sloan Kettering is not within the catchment, they're on 124th, but they're gonna keep funding like wellness events and things like that.
Okay.
We think we're.
Oh, thank you.
See, we have more questions. That's great. I
So
love it.
those were turning.
I love it. I love it. Let me shine. Okay, so I think. This is all
Last
this
one.
is so important for us. This is all we had.
So I
in each
know.
other. We don't wanna take any shine away. So please, 10 questions, go for it.
Last one. So I see there's residential, right? They pay 775, I'm out, but I noticed that only 775 is part of the steering committee, which is fine, I'm just trying to figure out. Is there a reason why there was only one or two, or they just, or
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Jim Ratty is, just the backstory of that is Jim Ratty is on the Uptown board and has just been involved forever, so it was Jim. If it answers that. To answer the other question, this is 1775.
that's 775?
Yeah, this one,
Okay.
so you can see they're not in.
I tried.
And this is where it gets really complicated because you're having to get everybody to say they'll contribute. And we tried to get that property owner to say they would contribute. Jordan tried.
I tried hard.
I was into that part, I was gonna get to that part about the property owner. Yeah. He has a lot of property there.
Yeah, I tried very hard.
Yeah.
The challenge, being just us, so this side of the street gets kept clean, this side of the street gets kept clean, this side of the street gets kept clean, so. The person who owns this gets a lot of benefits from being surrounded by the bed, doesn't have to pay. It's all good.
But we tried.
Thank
Mhm.
You know, I still mad. I didn't know.
I knew you would, I knew what the question was. I knew what the question was, yes.
Hopefully you have changed your mind one day.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that opportunity. You can't really, Leslie would kill it if we said you could change this a lot. You can't really change bids very often.
It goes back through the whole formation process. Expanding a bid is the same, requires the same steps as forming a bid. So oftentimes, efforts start with a larger boundary in mind. And then when they start going out and they're realizing some people are not interested, it requires like just doing a smaller boundary, because ultimately you're just trying to get this passed, right? And you want it to be impactful to your neighborhood. And for a neighborhood like East Harlem on 125th, where you see a bid right across the street, but nothing within your area, it's like, okay, what can we do to make it at least happen here before we try to widen our boundaries? So. This is where we're at.
We'll get them.
Okay.
Another question?
Someone's online with their hand raised.
No,
Now, go ahead, you have a question?
I'm just curious, to Carrie and the team, and this could be something that could be provided later, but is there any sort of synopsis of what the bid to the west of us has in terms of money, services, cleaning schedule, activities, placemaking, programming that we could use as a model for where we might want to go in the future?
it's hard, early on, this is a question the committee asked us a lot, is like, how do you compare bids? And it's really hard to compare bids, because everybody has a different geography. Everybody has a different linear thing they're trying to clean, everybody's got a different assessment formula. The West Side bid has a budget of 1.6 million, so we're looking at 750 for our district. Their district is longer, our district is, it has a lot of it has taller. But yeah, they do have a larger budget than we do, but I don't know if that was your question. We're gonna clean the hell out of it, is our goal. So, and 750 is, we have a little bit of a smaller footprint, so we're gonna make it work. And then too, it can increase over the years.
And how much staff do they have over there?
What was the question?
Okay.
Leslie might be more qualified than me. How many staff are on the 150 bid?
I think there's two, is Barbara
The
as
director of
the
security.
director, and there might be operations manager.
Yeah. And then they contract, and pretty much all bids contract the street cleaning
Services, yeah.
to somebody for like Street Plus or Doe Fund or.
And just the budget is fixed at 750. If there's more development in the district, there's more people paying into it, or I should say, that everybody's assessment goes down a little bit, the budget doesn't grow. So if we want the budget to grow past the $1 million in 3 years, then we have to go back through
City council.
City council
For
and get an assessment fee.
It's like a bathtub with $750,000 in it.
Sorry, and there was just one other question from earlier that I was.
About the bid itself, or was it about the cleaning staff? Just the. 9?
I'm sorry, I had one other question that I was holding from earlier. I can't hear you. You're kind of far away from the mic. Could you say that again?
Your question about staff, was it about cleaning staff or the actual bid staff?
Both. I was just curious what was the comparison of what they have, Fifth Avenue, west, from Barbara Askin's, group versus what we are projecting. And then the second question I had was just based on earlier for the empty lots. If they get developed that are in this area, for whatever empty lots might be within this area, how do those entities then come on board at a later date, or what's the plan for addressing some of those spaces?
The empty lots are paying now, but.
January 2020.
Well, yes, so excuse me, they'll start paying when it becomes live, because the formula is based on street frontage, on how many linear feet of street frontage you have. When those buildings, if those empty lots become buildings, say they become, in the best case scenario, a really big, profitable commercial office building, right? That their taxable value will go up significantly, and they will pay. Those sites will pay more money than they ought as empty lots, right? So the formula allows for development, because clearly there's a lot of development going to happen.
Thank you.
It's every lot that's green in the picture, if you can see it, January 20, like at the first billing, they will be paying. And so that's what's the benefit of a bid, right? Is right now Uptown Grand Central, it's just us going hat in hand to whoever wants to donate. But we have a lot of people, a lot of companies, LLCs and things like that, that shall never be found, and I've been asking for 10 years and they still haven't contributed anything or want it to be found. So the good thing about a bid is it's just on the tax bill, they just contribute, like there's no option, you can't opt out. Once it's a bid, it's in your, it's levied, and that money comes through the city, through SBS, and then back to the bid. And then SBS holds the bid accountable to make sure the money is spent well.
The full amount comes through,
Um,
the full amount comes to the city?
Nothing to skim off the top?
No question.
No, 100% of the bid assessment goes back to the bid. It's a separate line item. So this is a critical point for us as SBS of making sure that it is not called a tax, it's an assessment. Because unlike your taxes that go throughout for the whole city pot to, you know, give us the services we may or may not receive. This goes 100% back to the bid to provide the services that the board has decided upon. So all of the money goes right back to the bid.
And supplemental, but as when the bid starts doing cleanup, the Department of Sanitation can't be like, oh, the bid is emptying these trash cans.
And
Right, so we,
yeah.
yeah, twice a day, we don't have to do it anymore, they have to maintain their level of service.
I thought I had one last one, but I have another one. Do you have a plan? I mean, this is starting on January 2026.
We don't exactly know, but we're just kind of spitballing on that.
Okay, so another year or so. Do you have a plan for those businesses if they end up closing, moving out? What happens to that business that was part of the bid? And then now their assessment is gonna be part of it because they're not there anymore.
It goes to the property.
Yeah, it's probably.
It's a property, it goes on the property tax bill. However, commercial entities, merchants, more often than not do end up paying the assessment because of a triple net lease they may have. But the city is not privy to those private leases, so regardless, if a business was to close down, the property owner is still responsible for that assessment.
From the property owner themselves, someone else, and then that person.
Yes.
Thank you.
And just in conversations with the small businesses, they all know how much their business is negatively impacted by what's there now. You know, the trash, like, we were just visiting at Gin Jam the other day, and they had some guy like come and push all the planters over and scare all the customers, and you know, all of our businesses on the east side suffer from the foot traffic that just will never be there, right? People that already think it's too scary to come, that already are just like, I'm gonna choose a different transportation path, or I'm gonna shop elsewhere. So everybody already sees that gap of like, well, if we just could get it clean and safe, then I already have great products, I already have great services, I've already been here 25 years, people know me, they just don't want to come on the show. So that's our goal, is to get everybody where they can be their best business, you know?
If we could just capture all the people who go down to Grand Central and then
Yeah.
come back up.
They don't
If we could get them to get off here and then walk over here, all these businesses would get a lot more foot traffic.
So a good part of the budget's gonna go to tasers.
Well, they're like, oh my god, what are they doing?
I'm kidding, Isaac.
Kidding.
Giving up committee. All right, look, it's a great pleasure to hear about this. This is amazing. I think we've asked the question, yeah.
No, this was so informative.
So, we've been working on this in the community board for many years, discussing it. The actual work's been done by the city committee, which we applaud. Perhaps how essential, always so active, carry it, you know. So I think now we can have. Motion. Maybe. And then we-
Sure, emotions to support, it's on 125th Street bid formation. That's.
You want a second? Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to do a vote. So all in favor? Any against? I saw your hand, now in favor. Now I'm going to go against, if you could lower it to make sure that we are. Okay, so there's no one against, anyone present not voting. Give it a moment, anyone abstain. Perfect, so we, it is uniform aye, and is very excited to hear this. Thank you so much for the beautiful presentation, we'll make sure that we, well, our full board was yesterday, but we reported out. And it's like, I get back to back, full board yesterday, today's I go tomorrow, I have executive. Marie's gonna join tomorrow, so you got like a triple, we'll pass this out executive to make sure that it is within the timing that you require it. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate the work that's been done. Going forward, we don't have any old business or new business, you have old business?
Yeah, the lady from EDC that runs La Maqueta, she also runs the Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
She's supposed to supply the community. Yeah, she's supposed to supply the community with a survey.
Okay.
So that we can do the,
What's your name?
Jana or earthquake survey.
Shanna something.
You know, I haven't.
Okay, you can send that to us, but you're gonna supply us the survey?
A survey for the Uri.
Okay, so it's really very exciting.
And then they do
Okay.
but they were supposed to sit down with us and work out.
So what we're going to do is that I'm gonna, you give me their contact information, we will follow up with Marlene. And we will see if we get them here in January, because obviously it's very important, and January is just like a few weeks ago, we make it seem like it's so far, it's like, we're at the end of December. So, but please don't forget to get us that info, we need our contact. I forgot it already. Any other conference or any physical business? All right, so then we will do our roll call. Present.
Martha Persons, excuse, Marcel Bonzi, present, Samantha Rivera,
Present.
Regina Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Vincent Torres. Betty Cromsky. Anne Marie Vasquez. Present. Maya Whitaker,
Present.
Shelby Paul. And Jason Rowe.
Thank you all for coming, we are adjourned. Samantha was too quiet today.
Sorry. Thank
Okay.
you all. Very interesting presentation. I hope you all have
Everyone enjoy your
happy
holidays.
holidays. Bye.
Spotlight.